Monday, we're 9/11. That's a big day in our nation's history. Back before you guys were born, but yeah, still a big day in our nation's history. Lots of ceremonies and stuff, remembrances going on today. Let me put up on the screen what we're looking at this week. Oop, I didn't need to raise my hand. I've got my attention. Here we go. So we're here on our fake students page. Let's look at programming. Remember, cybersecurity is the same Google Classroom, but that's a different group of students. You guys are programming one, so you do the programming one assignments in Google Classroom. Leave the cybersecurity to the other students. So you don't have cybersecurity. That's a different class. Okay, so looking in Google Classroom, I'm not a Google Classroom, so looking in Buzz. We go to the grade screen. You can see fake student. He's got his work done and he turned in his program, but I haven't graded it yet. See, that's what it shows on the grade screen. If it's been submitted, turned it in this morning. He was a little late, but I want to show you how to go back. Now, see, this one says has feedback. Well, look at the grade screen. There's some feedback there. So how do I go back and look at that assignment? Well, let's click on that. And this says completed has feedback. If you go to questions right here, questions will show you, you can look and see what you missed. If you don't have 100%, you can go to the questions tab right there and see exactly what you missed as you scroll down through all the questions. Now, this one was 100%. He got them all. Let's see. Where can I see the feedback? That's a good question. Submission history. The analytics don't mean much to me. Let's see. I haven't tried to look at it on fake students before. Oh, there's the feedback right here at the bottom. Feedback's right here in the bottom. It's on the screen. When I clicked on it, it has the feedback. And the feedback, I have no comments. As a fake student, you do excellent work because this is my fake student account. So, but feedback is right here on the screen when you click on it. Grade right there. Again, the question tab where you can see the questions. And how I got there is I just went to the grade book and I clicked on that assignment. And there's the feedback right there on the front page. So yeah, anything, if you don't get 100%, you need to go back and look at it, click on it, go to the questions, look and see which question was marked wrong and what the correct answer was. If it's a question that you have to type in stuff, then I will generally leave you feedback on what's wrong. So that, again, you would find right there on the front page, feedback right there. So this printing strings program, hopefully you got that turned in. You did need to, let me show you the Google Classroom. So there's do this week in Buzz. That's this week. Here's last week, had the template right here. So when you went to that template, this is how you needed to turn it in. It'll make a copy of it for you. Right? You go to that, it makes a copy of it for you. So it has, again, the directions on what you're supposed to do. You copy and paste your code right there. It says insert your program code here. Copy and paste. Don't screenshot your code. I don't want to screenshot. I want you to literally copy it, highlight it in idle, copy it, paste it here, and then answer the questions at the bottom. Answer these, like 4 questions there. So once you do that and that, if you want to paste your output, like that's a sample output. You can copy and paste your output if you want to, but that's not part of the grade. The grade is running your program to make sure your program runs correctly. If your program is correct, it's to generate output that I will see that is proper. So, but make sure you're using the template, because if you don't use the template, you generally forget these questions. So that's what the template's good for. It's a chance for you to check off everything up here, make sure you did everything correctly, and then make sure you include the questions, because these usually worth 20 or 30 out of the 100 points. It's worth 20 or 30 points generally, most programs. So you don't want to miss that many points because you didn't answer the questions. So if you did this and you didn't use the template, I should have clicked allow retry. You should be able to submit it again. If it says you can't, just email me. I'll make sure that Buzz accepts it again. You can redo it. If you didn't get 100%, if you forgot to answer the questions, just go ahead and correct that and resubmit it. If you didn't copy and paste and you screenshotted it and you need to correct that, go back and resubmit it. I want you to get the points. I want you to be able to show me that you know what you're doing. So, all right. So that is in, and again, you guys, you do the programming one stuff. Cyber is a different class. So you have this right here this week, 1.04. So we're going to look at 1.04. Let's go back to the activity screen. And let's see what processing string values lesson. Let's take a look at that. See what we got this week. I don't believe we're writing a program this week. In fact, I know we're not. Next week we'll have another program, I think. So, all right. Oh, Legos. Anyone like to do Legos? Well, you can get all kinds of Lego kits these days. I know there's lots of adults and senior citizens doing Lego kits. Legos are great. Lots of Legos are awesome. Well, some things are great in their own. Put them together, it makes a force to be reckoned with, especially if you get a Star Wars kit, right? It's a force. Yeah. Same applies to strings in program. You can pull them apart, put them together, and awesomeness ensues. So let's see what they're teaching us this week. String values. In 2014, Warner Brothers Pictures released a Tom Cruise action movie based on a Japanese light novel. They had some trouble deciding on the title, right? At first, they went with the name of the book on which it was based, and the name of the book was All You Need Is Kill. So our brains take information like this, and they can store it easily. We create a variable in our minds, like movie title. In our computers in our head, we assign that a title, and then we give it a string value, like All You Need Is Kill. But then Warner Brothers Pictures realized audiences didn't like that title, so they changed it. So suddenly it became Edge of Tomorrow. Seen that movie? It's pretty good. Edge of Tomorrow. But they changed the name because people didn't like the title. So when they released it, audiences still didn't like the new name. So they opted for another change. So it was Edge of Tomorrow in the theaters. But when they released the DVD and the Blu-ray, the movie title is now Live, Die, Repeat. They All You Need Is Kill, that changed. Edge of Tomorrow, that changed. Live, Die, Repeat. So sometimes there appeared to be a second movie title, Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, because that's what people recognize from the theaters. So they had to tie it in there. But they kept renaming this movie. So while the human brains are great, we can only remember so much, and that's where computers can be helpful. So programming languages like Python can store string values for us when we might otherwise forget them. And then later we can ask Python to recall them. So let's see how we do that. So let's say we need to remember some information, like trying to remember the name of this movie. We can create a variable called movie title. Now notice how these variable names work. This is a 2-word title, but if we're going to create this variable in Python, we don't need any spaces in it. It has to be one word. And proper coding that programmers use is if you make a 2-word variable, you capitalize the second word. You don't capitalize the first at the beginning, but the second word is title, and that helps break the 2 words in half in your mind. When you look at that, you see 2 words because the T is capitalized. So movie title equals, and since this is a string value, we're putting it in quotes. If it was a number, we wouldn't need the quotes. If we said movie title equals 4, and it's just the number 4, we would just set it equal to 4. But since this is a string, it's letters, we have to put it in quotes, live, die, repeat. So this is an example of an assignment statement. We're assigning this value, live, die, repeat, to the variable movie title. All right, so it's assigning a string value. So let's look at this guided activity here and see what it looks like in Python, I mean. Hashtag assignment statement sample. So define our main function, movie title equal Edge of Tomorrow main. What do you expect happens when we run this? What are we going to see in the output? Somebody take a guess. Let me turn on the chat so I can see that too. But take a guess. When we run this program, what are we going to see in the output? Just see if he is. Nothing, Zachary says. Nothing. Why would you say nothing? Mary says we need some parentheses around that. There's no print strings. You're right, Zachary. We didn't tell it to print anything. And Daniel says it's not a print statement. You're correct. Nowhere did we say to print anything. When we hit run, okay, it ran, but nothing happened in the output because we didn't do anything except for assign a value to this variable. There's no output yet. But notice in the code how the string edge of tomorrow was assigned to the movie title, but we didn't do anything with it. Good job. There's no print statement. We don't have anything. Let's look at the second slide. Okay. Now we've changed and added one line. Print, parentheses, movie title. Is that going to work? We said movie title equals, and then we gave it what it equaled. No quotation. Okay, I like this. Let's do this, Sid. Let's add quotations. We're adding the quotations. Let's run it. It printed the word movie title. Because when we put quotations around it, we tell it literally print what's inside these quotations. Now, let's take it off and see what happens. In this case, oh, there's nowhere to clear it. We'll run it again. Now it prints edge of tomorrow. We don't need quotes inside the print statement if we're printing something that's already been defined. We defined what movie title equals. Movie title is a variable. We said, okay, this variable movie title, I want you to assign this value to it. Quote, edge of tomorrow. So that's what movie title equals. Literally means it equals edge of tomorrow. And then we told it to print that variable. So since we've defined that variable, we can print it. But again, if we put quotes around it, we're changing everything. We're saying literally print what's inside the quotes, and it prints movie title instead. So if we want to print what movie title equals, we don't need the quotes. Line 5 just finds X, like in math. Yeah, print X. X equals edge of tomorrow. Print X. Edge of tomorrow. Okay, good. You're thinking, guys. You're thinking. All right, now what have we done? Now we have movie title equals this, edge of tomorrow. And we said print that. And then we said movie title equals live, die, repeat. And we print movie title again. These lines are identical, right? These two print lines are exactly the same. So think about that. It's going to do it in order in this function. It's going to say, okay, here's the function. It's going to assign this value, like X equals 4. And it's going to print 4. And then we're going to change the value. Now X equals 9. So it's going to print 9, right? Except this is doing it with movie title equals a literal string of letters. Let's run that. See, first it printed edge of tomorrow because that's what movie title equaled the first time it got to the print statement. But then we changed the value of that variable. We said, oh, that variable does not equal edge of tomorrow anymore. Now it equals live, die, repeat. So print it again. And now it changed the edge of tomorrow to live, die, repeat because that's what we changed the variable to. So when we think about that, it's going to go exactly in order. It's going to do exactly what we tell it. So we have to, when we have an error or if it's not giving us the right output, we need to look and see what we've done. All right. Now this says, read the code, try to predict the output. Okay, movie title. This is what Sid was talking about earlier, where we have the quotes around it. And it prints a movie title. It says make changes to the print statements, the value of movie title. Okay, we played with this before the program told us to. Let's delete those quotes. Get edge of tomorrow. So yeah, we have to remember, if we use quotes, we want to print exactly what's inside the quotes. All right, last one. They've changed it now. Okay, write the code to assign the values to the variables middle name and last name. And we want to print Augusta Ada Lovelace, who was Lord Byron's daughter, who was the first programmer back in the 1850s. So right now, if we run the program, all it does is print Augusta. So let's change this. Let's change this program. It said, write the code to assign values to the variable's middle name and last name, and then write print statements to display each name in the output. Okay, so let's add same indentation, middle name equals Ada. We don't have to have spaces between so last name. Notice I capitalize name each time because that's the second word. It helps break it apart where we can see what that is. So write print statements. So what if we did this? All right, is that going to work? Move it down a bit. We can see. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Okay. Is that going to work? Anyone see problems? No, it's not going to work. Why is it not going to work? Oh, you caught me. If I try to run it, there's an error. Loveless is not, it thinks Loveless is a variable because I did not put it in quotes. It said, this variable can't equal that variable because you never told me anything about that variable. Good call. All right, so let's put it in quotes. Now let's see what happens. Augusta, Ada, Lovelace. What if we want it on the same line? Any thoughts on that? Can we make it just one print statement and print all three? Let's give that a shot. Let's see that. We'll see what that would look like. So let's delete these two lines and say, okay, we want to print them all in the same one. If we put a comma between them, oh, I'm going to do this on purpose just to show you. Notice I did not capitalize in there. It sees that as an entirely different thing. This is not the same as this because Python pays attention to whether the letters are capitalized or not. That's why it says this is not defined. I can't print that because I don't know what that is. I have to capitalize it to be exactly like it was when I defined it. All right. Let's see. Is this going to put them all in the same? Augusta, Ada, Lovelace. Interesting. Wasn't exactly what we were expecting. Now it's actually putting it in parentheses with quotes. Let's see. Let's change this to a plus and see if that does. Ah, see now putting it as a plus in between there, got rid of the quote and the parentheses, but we don't have any spaces. So if we want to put spaces in there, we've got to add more stuff. Let's space it out where it's a little easier to read. Okay, now when we run this, we get Augusta, Ada, Lovelace. We can read that because we told it to print. The first thing we said to print was this, Augusta. And then we said, and then print plus a space. I put the space in quotes because I literally wanted to put a space after Augusta. So it printed that space right there. And then I said, also add after that middle name, which it did right there, and then put another space and then do the last name. So we can make it do Augusta, Ada, Lovelace and look like it should with spaces in between the names, but we have to actually tell it to add spaces in between the names. Like I say, it's going to do exactly, literally what we tell it to do. And when I didn't put any spaces in there, it literally printed all three, but it did not give me spaces. We could actually fix that two different ways. We can take out these extra spaces. We can make it part of the variable. I want it to be Augusta with a space after it. I want it to be Ada with a space after it, literally, and then just print first, middle, and last, and it gets the same output. See, I'm running it, it's the same output because I put a space in there. All right. Learning a little bit more about variables now. So like most things in life, like asking to borrow the car, impressing somebody, like there's rules and good practices when naming variables. So as I was talking about on the other page, when you have variable names, you start them with a lowercase, like movie title, underscore movie title. You can do as an underscore, but the second letter we're going to capitalize. I mean, the second word. After the first letter, the variable could contain additional letters or digits. You could say movie title 1. See, there's a 1 at the end of that. But don't start with a number. Variable names cannot be any Python's keywords, which means commands. And you can click on this, and here's a list of all the keywords. You can't say false, none, true, and, as. So you can't use any of these as variables. If, lambda, you can't use lambda as well. Else, elif, see, def, because that's defined, that's a command. So you can't use any of these as a keyword. I mean, as a variable name. You can't put any spaces, no spaces, and no punctuation. I can't call it movie title exclamation. So there's the do nots. So these are rules. All right. So now these are good practices, which means Python doesn't care if you do this or not, but this is just good practice. So camel case, we're going to use this word. This is a convention. This is programmers understand what camel case is. That means when you write a variable that has more than one word, you're going to capitalize the second. You're going to have the first letter not capitalized. And then after that, every word, you'll capitalize it. New car. That's a good example. This is a bad example. New car where nothing is capitalized. Right? Use a meaningful name. New car, you know what you're going to assign to that variable. You're going to assign a car name, right? New car is going to mean something. If you call the variable DSA, DSA, DAS, DAS, just type in letters, nobody knows what that means. If somebody's trying to read your program, they have no idea what you're doing with that variable. And make it a reasonable variable. So saying new car as your variable name is great, but naming it new car that I want when I finally graduate, you have to type that every time you refer to that variable. That's not needed. Again, Python doesn't care if you do that. That will work, but it's just not good practice. And use nouns, not verbs, like new car, not drive so fast, new car. So generally it's going to be nouns. So that's just good practice. All right, so look at this. Valid names or invalid names. I'm going to do a couple of these. I'm going to leave this for you to play with, but let's see. Thumb. Is that a good name? Is that valid? Let's see. Let's put no. Whoop. It didn't let me put no. Oh, it is. That is not on the banned list. If we look back at that list, thumb is not on this list. So that's a legal name. How about zip code? Zip code right there, zip code. Is that legal name? If we say, yeah, oh, doesn't let us put name. It is not because it has a space in between it. Python will give an error with that space. It sees that as two different things, zip and code. If you want them together, put them together. A Mountain Dew, that's a good one. That's valid because it's no space. And it's good convention. Putting the capital D is not necessary for Python. City and state, nope, got spaces in it. So look at those. There's of the ones that are left, only one of those is not a valid name, I think. Oh, wait, class may not be because I think class is one of their keywords. That's one of their keywords. And time, all these are valid. This one, sales tax, is not valid. Those are all good. Oh, random value, yeah. All right, let's look at the next page. String operations. So while assigning and printing string values can be super exciting, trust us, it gets old fast. So what's next? String operations. So let's look at some operations. Okay. And we were kind of ahead on this. Concatenation, that's where you take two strings and put them together. So if we have this example here, and we got 4 slides here, define main, and then we assign mother to the word 1 variable. Word 2 variable, we assign board. And when we print that, we add them together. Concatenate, add them together. So when we run it, it prints motherboard, which is a word. Serenity said, why are those names illegal? We talking about back here? Well, if you remember the rules, you can't have spaces between them. So this is not a valid name. This is not a valid name. This is not a valid name. All those are illegal because they have spaces between them. The other ones like class is not a valid name because in Python, that is one of the commands they use. Class, that's a command. Python will see that as telling Python to do something. It won't recognize it as a variable name. So you can't use any of these words because these are all words that tell the program to do something. So you can't use them as a variable. So the rest of all these should be fine. All right, back over here. All right, let's look at the second example here. Now, here's another way to do this. We took word 1, which is mother, word 2, which is board, and then we took another variable, we call it word 3, and we said word 3 equals word 1 plus word 2. So print word 3, motherboard. Multiple ways to do that. Print word 3. We took these two things and added them together. Add mother plus board. No spaces. We didn't put a space between there because motherboard is a word. Look at another example. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting fancy. Mother and board, add them together. Print. The original words are, notice that's in quotes. That's in quotes. So it's going to actually literally print that to the screen. And then it's going to print word 1. Notice they put a space after it. So there's a space between R and mother. And then they say, and, so print that after word 1 with a space before and after and then print word 2, and then print a period at the end. And then I want to print the new word is, with a space, word 3, and put a period after that. So when we run that, the original words are mother, that's where it prints word 1, and right there, board, word 2, and the new word is word 3, motherboard. We'd add those together. You can play with these examples. You can go in here and change things. Well, if I said it's word 2 plus word 1, says the original words are mother and board, and the new word is board mother. Just by changing the order of those variables. All right, last one. Look at the code. The name Augusta Ada Lovelace has been assigned to the variables. And they want us to print Lovelace, comma, Augusta. Like a lot of times, a lot of lists are by last name first. So let's see how we would do that. Got a space over, print. We want to print last name. And then we want to print, plus. And then we want to print a comma. And then plus first name. We're printing this variable, then we're printing a comma, and then we're printing this variable. Let's run it. There it is, Lovelace, comma, Augustus. Augusta right there. I'll keep wanting to say Augustus from the Willy Wonka movie. Augustus Gloop. Yeah, yeah. Augusta. Okay, it says keep trying. Are you putting the last name followed by oh, they want a space after the comma. So let's put a space in there because they're saying we didn't have it. They want a space. Let's try it again. There it is. They wanted a space after it. It didn't say so up here. But this is how we would do it. We would have a space between the comma and the first name. All right. Like I said, they got lots of places you can practice in there. The word motherboard is not very long or complicated, but there may be a time when you're dealing with a larger string and you need to pull out specific parts. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Now, here's the important thing to remember. Index position. Python can count the number of letters, but Python is a little weird because it starts counting with 0. It doesn't start counting with 1. So let's read the code. Bring this up on the page. Define main, word 1 is mother, word 2 is board, word 3 is word 1 plus word 2. That was from our last example. It says the character in index 0 is, and then it's going to print word 3. And look at this. It's got a bracket, a 0, and a bracket. So that tells it to go to that variable, choose the first letter, because remember, Python starts counting at 0, and print that. So let's run the program. The character in index 0 is M, which would be the first letter of word 3, motherboard. Let's print the 5th letter. No, index 5 would be the 6th letter, right? If I change it to a 5, because it'd be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that'd be the 6th letter, which is R. Because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you run this and you're getting the wrong letter, think, oh, did I start counting with 0? If I wanted the E, I got to change it to number 4. Index 4 is E. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, it starts counting with 0. All right, let's look at this. Read the code, predict the output. The character in index 8 is word 3, 8. Now they put it all in one line. They said add it on the same line up here. So what is it going to print? Which letters are going to print if we said 8, index 8? We see some guesses in the chat. Which letter are we expecting it to print? What character will it pull? Zachary says A. Index 8. Daniel says O. Luke says O. Index 8. Any other guesses out there before we run this? I'm seeing O's and A's. So it's probably going to be an O or an A. Here we go. We're going to run it. It is A. Because the 8th character is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is in index 8, which actually be the 9th letter. Because remember, it starts counting to 0. So all of its counting is off by 1 because it doesn't start at 1, it starts at 0. So index 8 is A. And look, we can print it on the same line that way because we said put a space after it and then print it with a period. So it doesn't have to be in 2 lines. All right, let's look at their last example here. Use indexing. They want us to print the initials. Right? It should read the initials are AAL. All right, let's change our print statement. Plus, what do I need to put there to get her initials? About the first initial. What do I need to put to get the first initial? Are you able to make the screen bigger? Let me see what I can do. I can do somewhat bigger. There we go. I can't see the output that way, but that's all right. We can see right there. What do I need to add on this print statement to get? We're trying to print her initials, AAL. So how do I get the first A? One point 6. Close. We got to tell it first. Where's it going to look? It's going to look in first name. And then we're going to do that bracket 0. Let's run that and see if that's right. Run program. The initials are A. Okay, that got the A. So we told it to go to this variable, first name. It went to that variable and pull the character that's in index 0. Remember, it starts counting with 0. It doesn't start counting with 1. If I said go pull the first letter and I said, A, go get the first letter, that's you, because Python does not start counting. It says, oh, you want the second letter, huh? Remember, we've got to use 0 to get the first letter. All right, so then we want to say, and middle name, and pull character 0 from that, because this is the 0 index character from middle name, and last name, index 0 there. So if we say go and pull 0, which is the first character from first name, middle name, and last name, let's run that. There it is. The initials are AAL. And we can put period after it. They said it should say with a period. They put a period after it. Plus, give me a period. I put it literally in quotes there. Now it puts the period on our output. All right. Let me go ahead and make this a little smaller again. So we go to the next page, see what we got in there. All right, this is the last page of the lesson. Pulling out individual characters is not the only thing you can do. We can pull out a group. See, this is word 3, index 1, but we put a :6. Say, give me from 1 to 6. I said word 4 is going to be from letters 1 to 6 on word 3. So let's go down and look at that. Going back to motherboard, word 1, and we're going to go to word 3, which is motherboard, and pull out characters 1 to 6. 1 to 6. What words are going to be? Any idea what 1 to 6 is going to be? I'll make this a little bigger again. Word 4. We're going to print word 4. What is word 4 going to be? It says go to word 3 and print the characters from index 1 to index 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to print from 1 to 6. What's those 1 to 6 going to be? All right, got a few different things in the chat. Got other B, got other, got mother B. Interesting. Let's see what it actually puts out there. Other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here's the key. It stops at 6. Other B was a good guess. But when it gets to the second one, that tells it to stop. The letter in position 1 was O. The letter in position 6 is B. But here's where it gets tricky. Python will not include the letter in index position 6 if you use this command. This tells it to stop at 6 and don't use it. That's like, oh, when you get to 6, stop. Don't grab that one. Okay. This is a slice, a portion of a string. So that's something to remember right there. This tells it where to start. So grab this letter. But when you get here, don't get that. Stop there. Stop at number 6. Don't grab number 6. All right. So now, if we told it motherboard and said get from 7 to 10, it'll start with number 7 and it'll stop when it gets to 10. It will not get the 10. So it starts, it'll grab the first one you tell it, but it will not grab the last one you tell it. That's where you say stop. When you get to this one, don't do anything. So let's see, 7 to 10. So word 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the 7th character and the 8th character and the 9th character, but it will stop when it gets to 10. 7, 8, 9. So let's run that. There it is. Or it just grabs 7, 8, 9, and it stops when it gets to 10. Let's look at the next example. Use parts, a slice of each name to create a new name, Audelace. Audelace. Ooh, okay. So it wants us to grab AU, DA, and lace. So let's see if we can do that. Plus first name, and we need to index something in here. Well, we know we want the first two, right? So start with 0. If I grab 0 and 1, it says stop at 2. We can always run it to C. So that grabbed AU plus middle name. We need to index that. We want to start where? We want the DA. So this is interesting. There's only 3 characters. What if we say go from 1, 0, 1, 2 to 3? I'll be interested to see if that creates an error. I haven't paid attention to this because there's not an index 3. It only has 0, 1, and 2. But we're going to try 1 to 3 because that's what the command that we know should work. Oh, that's not going to work though because I told it the wrong variable. Middle name is not the same as middle name. And on the last one, what index do we need for the last one? We want to get lace out of it. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Start with 4. That's number 4 on the indexing. 4, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's see what that does. Oh, look. Perfect. The new name is Autolace. Oh, and they want a period at the end. That was going to be grammatically correct. Plus period. Oh, that literally print a period. There we go. Perfect. All right. That is all of what they're teaching us. Now we go to the assignment. You have multiple choice this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiple choice questions. 5 multiple choice questions. So if you didn't get the program written last week, you got time to get that done this week because all you have is a short 5 question assignment. And then next week we'll get into another, I think we write another program. If not, it'll be the week after. So, all right. That should be all you need, guys. That should get you in there. So I'll let you go. I'm going to talk with my cyber students now. They come in at 8. So I'll be getting with them. But if you've got any questions, send me an email. Get with me. This week, that's wrong. This is an A day. I need to fix that. There we go. Now you're good. This Friday's an A day. So if your grade's below 70%, I need to see you Wednesday and Friday. So if your grade's below that, get your grade above 70 for tomorrow's grade checks. See you guys.